Welcome to the Kingdom Podcast. My name is Jacko. Today I'm joined by Jay. Say hello.
Hello.
And Didi. Say hello.
What up?
We have not done an episode of the podcast in a few months for good reasons, or not so good reasons. I got lazy. It's a bitch to find people to do it. And I didn't know where I was going with it. So the main principle so far moving forward is we're going to try to do 3 to 4 episodes a month. One where it's just me. Another where it's me and one person, so a duo podcast. And then a third one that's one like this where it's 3 to 4 people. And then a fourth one that will be any of those three, and it will be a Patreon exclusive for a full 24 hours before it's put on the YouTube channel. Otherwise, it's only going to be like normal videos. It'll be an hour that Patreon's going to exclusive, and then it's public. I think that's all I want to talk about the podcast. There's some names that I wanted to run by you guys, if you don't mind. Because I kind of want to change the name, but I'm not sure. Because I made some graphics at the beginning already for it. The people at home, people watching this, may or should have already seen. I made some, so I don't know if I want to change them yet. But I was thinking that I want to go with a lo-fi kind of aesthetic, like a chill podcast. Because I feel like a lot of podcasts say they're that thing. Like they'll say that they're a chill hip hop kind of lo-fi meme, like the Misfits or something, but they don't really focus on it, or they don't have a name that really fits it. So I was thinking that we could call this the Cafe, the Jazz House, the Jazz Palace, the Nighttime Jazz, the Cafe Club, and the Club Cafe. These are all ideas that I'm going to put in a poll on the screen right now for the people watching. If you have other ideas for names, leave them in the comments or at me on the Discord. My name is Jacko-2026. I am the only person with the ruler role, so it's pretty easy to find me. So either vote in the poll, leave a comment, or ping me within the server. A link to the server is in the description below. Alright, now with all the podcast garbage out of the way, let's move on to something that we actually want to talk about. I already discussed with Didi and Jay that we were going to talk about cinema for a good bit. Because in the Kingdom, we watch movies on a weekly basis. I am a cinephile to a certain degree. If you don't know what a cinephile is, it's a person who enjoys movies on every level. So a movie lover
He touches himself to movies.
Pardon?
You touch yourself to movies is what you're saying.
No, listen.
Yeah. Pretty sure that's what you do.
That's not what a cinephile is. It sounds fucked. Even when I first learned
Sounds
it
like
fucked.
a 20.
It sounds really bad. But the thing with a cinephile is they like every aspect of a film. Like they like the idea of it, the film studies kind of stuff going on. You know, like it's difficult. Like they'll understand like editing or something. They really enjoy that kind of stuff. I'll leave a definition on screen for people to see what I mean, so I don't sound like a complete fucking dumbass or a creep. Because I said something with file at the end of the name, like pedophile. This video isn't going to be monetizable at any point. Not that we even fucking have the ability to get that money yet. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm sure
Patreon in the description.
Yeah, Patreon in the description. Ko-Fi, hell yeah. Do those two things. Those are great. I'm glad we're plugging
Ko-Fi?
that super early.
I thought it was pronounced coffee.
Yeah, you said it wrong in the video.
Wow, fuck
for
you.
the viewers at home, Jay's the person who did the recent spa video. At least in terms of recording, it was recent. Didi, which video did you do?
A recent one
Yeah.
would have to be the studio.
Okay. Didi did the studio one recently, and Jay did the spa, and I did one recently as well. The last video that I did before that was a dev blog update. which is what the podcasts are going to be mainly when it's just me. It's just going to be me updating people about the server and like how things are going and ideas. Anyways, back to movies. I want to talk about, for the first one, I want to ask you guys what you think about new age cinema or new age Hollywood. Like like Marvel movies.
Yeah.
That would be like new age. The idea of like superhero movies is new age. That's new age Hollywood, in my opinion.
If that's what you would consider new age, what would you consider like the whole Chinese blockbuster stuff? Like, if you've seen any of those.
You mean like Transformers kind of shit?
I mean,
Transformers was made for the
technically.
Chinese market, yeah? You know that, right?
Yeah, I do. Honestly, that was fucking sick. I mean, I know a lot of people hated it, but it was pretty cool.
Like Transformers as a whole?
I mean, no, like the Last Night one where they actually had it in
Is that the one with the
China
dinosaurs?
or whatever. Yeah, which one was it? I think the Last Night one was the one where I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember half of them. They all just blend
Yeah.
together. They're not really that separate.
Star
Just a
Wars
bit.
is like that for me.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
not just the new ones, but the old ones too kind of blend in my brain.
We're not going to talk about the new Star Wars. I am
Why
fucking
not?
furious with those. They're so,
Of course, if you're
it's
curious
so-
about it, let's
oh,
talk about those. But
it's so
first,
bad.
Didi,
I'm so angry.
Didi, what do you think of new age cinema? Like the Marvel movies specifically, I guess.
I haven't really watched any what you consider new age cinema movies.
Good.
Mainly because I haven't really had time in my schedule to sit down and actually watch and enjoy a movie.
But like Toy Story 4, that's new age. What's another new
I haven't
age
seen
movie?
that one.
Captain America, like the original Captain America movie. The one that, I don't know when that one came out. Like 2011, 2012, I want to say. I don't know. No, after that.
It sounds about right.
Yeah, but I think that was for me, speaking of Marvel, I think that was the only Marvel movie, or the most recent Marvel movie that I watched. I didn't watch any of the new Marvel movies. I heard enough about them to know that I didn't give a shit.
I gave quite a big of a shit until I realised that they were all shit.
Yeah, well, they're not garbage. Like, they're interesting
I mean, yeah,
on
it's
like a cinematic and storytelling. I don't know
yeah,
about
it's quite
storytelling, but, like,
impressive.
the capability, like it was stuff that never been done before, like having multiple franchise titles come together for like
Yeah.
a couple movies. That's crazy. Like, that's a lot of contracts and a lot of money if you think about it.
I do sure love money. Oh,
The Marvel movies have been kind of hit or miss for me. Because I know I really enjoyed watching the Iron Man movies.
You watch all of them?
Like, I think so. I remember watching 1 and 2.
What was 2? Was 2 the guy with the whips?
yeah, 2 was the guy with the whips when Tony Stark had the fucking suitcase suit, which was just Jesus. Ugh.
That was cool. I mean, not the guy with the whips, with the suitcase.
I mean, I did at first when I was like baby, but now I'm like, the suit just kind of looks jank, and I don't vibe with it.
Does it look jank because it's an old movie, or like older?
No, because the suit design, like, because in Iron Man 1, the suit was like sleek and sexy, and ooh, damn, he's modeled after his hot rod. But in the second one, they went for this like, it's all like sort of bashed together. It doesn't really look clean. It's just like sort of acceptable.
In the comics, he always had like really cool shit going on. Hulkbuster armor looked cool to me.
In Iron Man 3, when they like brought out the fucking like all the armors from the comics, that was the coolest bit for me. I mean, I hated Iron Man 3 as like a story thing, but that's what I think Marvel's really good at, those big little moments. Like, big little moments? Yeah. The little moments of just like, wow, bits of awe in their films.
Mhm.
I feel like they're really good at that, but like just little stories on their own, I think they're just terrible with those.
I think they're good at making awe, like they're good in creating awe in their audience, but they're not good in keeping it for a long duration. Like they're really, like you said, really good at starting it, but they have no fucking clue how to end it at all.
Yeah.
Like they'll try to like take it on this roller coaster ride, like the major fight in the most recent one, I guess, the one where they fight Thanos or whatever. Like that huge fight scene is
Which
insane.
one?
I don't know, the one where it's all of them. I didn't watch the movies. What the fuck? I told you. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
they
see
fought
a
Thanos
picture.
quite a few
I saw.
times.
Yo, listen. I saw that Spider-Man died in that one, and I was like, all right, I get the entire premise. They lose. Well, I don't need to sit here and spend $25 to say to people that I saw Spider-Man kick the fucking bucket and turn into Margaret Thatcher, like turning into a bunch of ash on the side of the street.
Oh.
I remember seeing that one on Netflix
Because
because I didn't want to go spend money to watch it.
I spent money to watch it.
Trying to think about the last movie I went to theaters to watch was. I want to say that the last movie I saw in theaters was Beauty and the Beast, like that new CGI one that they did a bit ago.
Oh, with Emma Watson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Emma Watson.
Yeah, I did not go see that.
Did you guys see that they're gonna do a live action version of Lilo and Stitch?
What?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know that one.
Yeah, I saw a post about it on Twitter. This person was saying the only people that should be casted are Hawaiian or like Pacific Islander people.
Yeah, I saw that too. I think that some of them were. Kind of want to say that the sister was. I don't think Lilo was. And Stitch 100% wasn't. He's a white guy.
That motherfucker was definitely not Hawaiian.
But I don't think that would matter. I mean, he's a fucking alien. He could be anything. He doesn't need to be a Hawaiian alien. You know?
I'm more excited about the live action Mulan that's coming out.
Oh, hell yeah. That's gonna be amazing.
You see that she supports the fucking police brutality in Hong Kong, supposedly. You see
Wait,
those
what?
fucking... Yeah, supposedly she was like... I don't know, it was some post on Twitter that of a Hong Kong protester getting the shit kicked out of him by a cop, and she was like, you know, they gotta protect the streets, which I don't know if it was taken out of context or not. See, that's the problem, and this expands into subs for me in like anime or something, where something is foreign and I don't understand the language at all. Like I have no comprehension of it, especially in Asia.
So you've just got to sort of trust.
I just have to trust that this translation is accurate. Like I understand French and English, and you know, like with French, you can kind of like pick up like a little bit of Italian, maybe a little bit of like the Dutch, or Spanish especially. Like, you know, the Germanic languages, you know, stuff that was kind of all based on this like one.
They were all sort
model
of shoved
language.
together.
Yeah. Well, you know about the story of the Germanic tribes, right? Like them coming in and just fucking, all right, you go over here, we go over here. We don't know how to talk to you anymore. Like 30 years later.
Sick.
Speaking different ones. I love that. I love the idea of a bunch of these people just coming in, all these same people, all speaking the same language, and then just fucking off around the world, and then just making up different languages. It's crazy to think about that. That's why I love history. Take it back to the movies. Have you guys seen Joker? The new Joker?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
I haven't, and I want to know first what you think, Jay, before I say anything. What you thought about the movie.
I thought, because I went to the movie just completely ignoring all of the, like, oh, Joker's gonna cause shootings and shit. I went to go see it as a movie, as it is. And I thought it was really good. Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. It's not the Joker. It's not the real Joker." Wow. It's just like, just get over it. It's a different interpretation. Like the same way the comics have different interpretations of the Joker.
Yeah.
It's just like a different thing. I don't get why. I don't get why people get so angry at it just because they like don't. It's not their favorite version of it.
Yeah, I always thought that was stupid.
Yeah, that was dumb. But from a from a cinematic perspective, the Joker was absolutely incredible for me, and I think one of the main reasons for that was because the score of the film was like written before and after production. So, like some of the songs you see in the film, when like the Joker's doing his little dances and whatnot, and he's being a bit of a weird cunt, that because that was all written before the film, and it was like played to Joaquin Phoenix, and then he sort of just interpreted that as like he interpreted the music as his own performance, and I thought that really added some authenticity to it. I feel like because usually in films it's all filmed and shot, and then people just whack on music afterwards that feels good, or it feels like it fits. Whereas in the Joker, it was sort of like the music and the like acting and whatnot influenced it like each other.
Mm.
So it was like more of a collaborative process rather than this whole like sectioned off industrial fucking machine that the movie industry's becoming now. Like my tutors in college, because I do media in college, it's all just like you have to do these checklists every time. You have to do it this way, and like there's no room for freedom or like any expression anymore in the film industry, I feel. So that's mainly why I dislike the whole formula movies of like Marvel now, because it's just sort of really the same stuff, like but stuff like the Joker where it's like, hey, it's something new. It's actually quite nice.
Yeah. You might like Edgar Wright movies, like Baby Driver. You ever?
Yeah,
Seen that?
I love Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Edgar Wright's amazing. I can't wait for whatever it is. What's it? Last Night in Soho, or whatever is it?
What? He's got a new one?
Soho. Oh yeah. Oh, Edgar. I know this because the woman who helped co-write 1917, Kirsty Wilson Cairns or something.
Oh,
She's also. Oh, it's so good. I definitely recommend it. But I think she's helping writing the film as well. Where is it? Last night. Yeah, that's it. Last Night in Soho. It's coming out. God knows when, but they think it's in post-production now, so they think everything's filmed and like wrapped up almost. But I cannot wait for that. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, I look forward to Edgar Wright movies. They're good. Baby Driver was really good.
His films just, they always seem to just have. He's just got this snappiness. Everything just flows really well. It's like watching an Edgar Wright film is like listening to a whole album, like just straight through. It just, you're not just jumping in between bits you like. You're going through it all, and it all just feels the way it's meant to feel. Like every single time, it's just wow, you know.
Because he plans his scripts really well.
Oh, he plans everything meticulously.
Yeah.
In his scripts, he'll have the little music notes where, because in Baby Driver, I think I remember. Did you ever see? Because Edgar Wright directed that little. It was like a little music video for a band.
Yeah, I remember. I know what you're talking about. I'm gonna put.
Yeah,
it on
that, because that's where he originally got the idea. Of doing Baby Driver, because he heard the song of bell bottoms, and he was just thinking, oh, I really want to do a like drive an action scene of this. I want to do a chase scene of this, and then he just holds on to those little ideas and he just compiles them all together in a way that just fits so well. It's like, it's extraordinary that writers like Edgar Wright exist in like the modern day. I think we're so lucky to be able to like witness his works being like produced and shown like here now, the same way that the people who probably went to go watch Alfred Hitchcock's films in theaters probably felt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Alfred Hitchcock was a fucking weird guy.
Oh, he was a fucking weird guy.
He used to keep, supposedly used to keep, why am I saying supposedly? He said it on a record, on a fucking interview. He used to keep like $500 individually. Every $500 he would have, you put in an individual safe. Cause he was scared of someone breaking into one of his safes and stealing everything. So he'd buy a bunch of different ones and fucking put them all in individual safes. So he had money fucking everywhere. It was everywhere.
It was like the Pablo Escobar of the film industry.
Yeah. Didi, is there any particular directors you like?
Not off the top of my head. I mean, the only director that I know is Tyler Perry.
Tyler.
Like, I've seen some of his movies.
What are some movies he did?
You know Medea?
Medea. Sounds
The Medea
familiar.
movies.
You mind tell me what it was about?
So Medea is basically this old black woman who's sassy, like a stereotypical black woman, but Medea is played by Tyler Perry himself. And I think one thing that I've noticed with Tyler Perry movies is that I think they're all like, they follow the same trope, you know, about a light-skinned black woman getting messed over by a dark-skinned black man. And I didn't notice it growing up watching Tyler Perry movies, but now that I've, you know, rewatched some of them, I'm starting to notice that. And I know he came out with this new movie called A Fall from Grace that supposedly he produced in 5 days.
Really?
And
Holy shit.
yeah, it's on Netflix. And this one YouTuber like reviewed it, and she said it wasn't very good because, you know, it was produced in 5 days and the writing is flat and the characters are flat. I haven't seen it myself, but I plan on watching it sometime so I can formulate my own opinion about it.
Well, the fact that that movie was able to be made or produced in 5 days is, I feel like, is a good reason to explain why New Age cinema, in my opinion at least, is garbage. Because it's so easy to make a film now, at least like, at the very least, like an indie film you can make really easily. Like, you can make a movie with your phone, like a device you have on you everywhere. Like, some cameras are getting pretty cheap now these days too. I feel like that's what's kind of taking out like the pizzazz that movies used to have. You know, one of my favorite movies of all time is Seven Samurai. I think we've watched it more than twice for movie night. I would probably assume you guys haven't seen Seven Samurai at all.
No, I have not.
No, I haven't.
It's a great movie. It's won a bunch of different awards, both in the US and in the West and in the East. In the West, it was won a bunch of awards for like best foreign film and stuff like that. But it's like about these seven samurai who come together to eradicate these bandits that are attacking this village. And it's such a great movie because everything is physically there, you know? Like, a lot of stuff's CGI and it looks great, but like there's just a lack of life, I find, even in CGI movies. And a lot of like old foreign movies, like Seven Samurai, which came out in like the 50s or something. I'm not sure. I'll put it on screen for people to correct me. But like they're just like random fucking people. Like they go through a village at one point to go find some more samurais to like get together because they need 7 samurais because there's so many bandits that they need to have this perfect number of 7. So they're going recruiting through a village, and there's just like shit tons of fucking people just like walking around. It's like they're doing all kinds of shit. Like they have no idea. These characters in this world do not give a shit about these samurai. Like these samurai are just walking through, talking to other people. Meanwhile, there's one guy fucking wheeling and dealing his rice or like some fucking bag of whatever he's got on top of his head, or his cow that he's carrying around or some shit, you know? Like there's just so much life in old movies, and there's also life not only in like background in old movies, but in characters too. Like a lot of Old West movies I find, especially like spaghetti westerns, even though those are dirt cheap movies, like I feel like there's more to those characters because you get like a sense of like, ooh, this is a bad guy because he does such and such. Like he's, you know, in Mick Lintlock, it's a John Wayne movie. There's like one guy who's like obsessed with like fucking chopping up people, and he's just like super aggressive and weird. Where I feel like in new movies, you just have a guy with a machete and not explain why he has a machete. Just say he's a bad guy and that's it. Where in that movie, you're like, oh, this dude's fucked up because he cuts people up with this fucking machete, and he's like obsessed with it, and they go into detail about it. You know, there's just a lack of life in new age cinema. I feel like that's the case.
I get what you mean.
And to round back to Joker, if you don't mind me doing so, the reason why I said before that Joker can't be great but can be good, I don't know if I said that, but it can't be great but can still be good, is because it exists in a world where a movie like Taxi Driver already existed. I don't know if you've already seen Taxi Driver, Jay. Have you?
Yeah, a lot of people completely said that it is just Taxi Driver. And to be honest, they're not wrong. It's very, very much like Taxi Driver in like a sense of the characters are pretty much the same. The story's like relatively the same. It's just sort of, it's a bit disappointing that, you know, people who haven't seen Taxi Driver won't know about Taxi Driver because of Joker, because like Joker's sort of taken this spot now, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, in like modern minds at least.
Yeah.
Didi, have you seen Taxi Driver at all?
No, I have not.
Okay, so for the people at home who may be on the same side as Didi, Taxi Driver is a Martin Scorsese movie. That is, who's the guy that's playing that movie again? What's his name? I can't remember his name.
Oh.
Robert De Niro.
Do IMDb?
You have Robert De Niro.
No, he's in every Martin Scorsese film.
What is the equivalent of an incel who's super in love with this woman, gets into politics about a certain person he doesn't care about just so he can be with this girl, and then he goes crazy. He starts fucking shaving his hair like to have a mohawk and putting guns on his arms so he can swing them out. Then he goes and kills people. It's a whole thing. It's crazy. It's very similar to what happens with the Joker, except like they're both like anti-hero movies, but specifically the genre that those two movies are is called loner cinema. I don't think there's a lot of movies that are in that genre, so I'll give it to Joker on being part of a very exclusive genre. But
yeah, because I feel like I feel like a lot of those films are mainly just like indie films, and people don't really pick them up. Like they're usually just like Oh, here's this one disturbing Polish indie film I've watched. Have a look at that.
You're talking about Lighthouse? Lighthouse is kind of indie, I think.
I don't know about Lighthouse. I don't remember what it was called, but it was like this one where this guy, it was like this guy who's just like a massive paedophile and like made films of kids and whatnot, and it was just like, I think he died at the end.
It's a
But it was
Polish
just like,
movie?
I think it was Polish. It was some Slavic thing. I don't want to offend anyone, but like, yeah.
Gotta ask
If-
Prida
if-
about that. Prida's Polish. Prida's a
Ah,
person. For the
that
people at
damn
home,
Pole.
Prida is a person on the server who I believe is Polish. Also, in
He is
case you are in
Polish.
the server and you didn't know, if you're not an English speaker, it may sound weird that there's 3 English people basically saying this, but if you're not an English speaking person, you can still join. We have a bot that translates languages, messages to different languages, so there's still an easy way to communicate. So if you're not English speaking and you feel a little bit scared in joining, still come and join us. There's a link to the server in the description. Didi, what have
Yes.
you didn't watch Joker and you haven't seen Taxi Driver? What's the oldest movie you've seen? Or the movie that you think is the oldest at the least?
Well, the oldest movie that I've seen is Gone with the Wind.
Did you watch that in black and white or in color?
In color.
In color, yeah. That movie, I've watched it 3 times now. We've watched it once for movie night. I think that was last week as of recording this. And I think the first time I watched it in color. The second time I watched it black and white, and we just watched it in color. I don't understand how the fuck people could watch that in black and white. There's just so much, like, things going on that need color, like for story wise, you know. It just feels so strange. I don't know, Jay, you ever watched Gone with the Wind?
Yeah, I watched it in black and white, and I get what you mean with the whole colour thing, but to be honest, I think that's probably more of a generational thing, because we are so used to colour now, but like back then it was all like, this is the way we do things, it's black and white, you know? The people just sort of like, they get it.
Yeah, but there's so much color in the colored version. Like, there's so much colored stuff on set, like such vibrant colors, that it just feels crazy to think that people could possibly have the opinion that the black and white version is visually better, when it's just like insane that
It just takes away from the sort of like set design.
Yeah, it's insane to try and think of the thought process behind the directors, like, you know, putting all these things of color, and then him having to process, or her, I don't know who, probably him though, really, who directed it.
Speaking of stuff like that, I think there was one thing where Alfred Hitchcock, in his How I Learned to Stop Fucking Whatever and Love the Atom Bomb, I don't remember, it's a long title,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure like in the fucking, I think it was like the war room or the UN room or whatever it was, where like all the nations were like having their discussion, he made sure that the table was like a poker table. It had that green felt on it just to like symbolize it was all like a big game, but it was just completely lost because it was a black and white film, and like it was just like the dumbest shit ever.
Yeah. I can't remember what company it was. Was it Technicolor or something that came in?
Yeah, Technicolor.
Yeah, it was Technicolor that came in. Okay, so when Technicolor came in, they started doing crazy shit. Like, they started coloring movies that like took years for them to do that. Couldn't imagine these people sitting around like in that age. Like, I could turn a black and white photo and Photoshop into color in like 2-3 minutes, really. But back in that day, you're going individually, like frame by frame, trying to figure out what, like, to turn something black and white into color is crazy to think about. The idea of that company is also crazy.
They had some fucking crazy shit back then.
Yeah. Like I said, Wild West movies were crazy. You used to like the shit that stunts people, like the stunt people used to do. Yeah, I have my respect for people that still do it now. But like back then was crazy. They'd have people like weaseling between like horses and shit in old Wild West movies, which is like, for sure there's so much shit wrong with that. They'll have people falling off horses, and you know for a fact that there's no fucking mat in that scene at all. Those people are hitting ground, and
there were no health and safety regulations then.
Yeah, those horses too. I heard a horror story recently that, you know, like in a lot of like Wild West movies, you'll see like horses fall head down, you know. Supposedly what they used to do is, I don't know if this is true or not, but they used to put like a line around their back legs, and then when they need them to fall, they would pull. Because it's a lot easier than training them to fall. So you just pull them, they fall on their face.
Yeah, a lot of old movies, they would just fucking like, they would like just like absolutely just destroy that animal.
Yeah, they just eat shit too. Those poor horses. I've heard horses really got the worst of it though, in movies. You know, like, yeah, they'll have like a lot of like caged birds or something on screen, or like, you know, like they'll do some shit with dogs or something that's really fucky. Like they'll make a dog. I can't remember what movie it was that they fucked up. Like they made a dog not eat for so long so they could have a malnourished dog in like a poor setting. I can't remember what movie that was. I learned that a long time ago. That was like I was in elementary school and my teacher was talking about that. He was like an avid like film lover. So we talked about like crazy shit like that, and he had like a pet.
A cinephile.
Cinephile, buddy. I don't know. It sounded, that was a word I learned recently. That's why I wanted to use it. But anyways, he was telling me about that, and I thought that was so fucked. But like, horses always got the worst of it, because horses were in the Wild West movies, and those like samurai, ancient Japan movies. You know, like where they just fucking are the war horses. You know, like. Shit that actually happened is now happening again, but only for TV. Like, it's a different story when those horses are getting fucking shot in a war, because in that case, it's like almost worth it, you know? Like, you know, they're serving a cause. I'm using air quotes, by the way. But in movies, they're just fucking dying for the sake of
just for entertainment.
5 seconds of film. To make a scene look a little bit better, in their opinion.
Anything for that shot, though, man. Yeah. God. Oh.
Yeah. Animals. Humans have also had bad things, you know, like especially First Nations people as well in like old Wild West movies. I'm sorry I keep talking about Wild West movies. I love them though. They're great. But in like First Nations people would always be like, they would be poorly represented, and then they wouldn't be translated well. There's a lot of like scenes. I think there's an entire documentary. Can't remember what it was. I'll put the name on the screen for people listening to and watching right now. But they would like translate it to something, but in reality, the native is just being like, bullshit, like fuck you. Who do you think you are? A bucktooth fuck, like things like that. Like he's just insulting the guy, not actually saying the lines that he's supposed to say in like his language, you know. Which I always thought was funny, but like they would be forced to play like these incredible natives and these bloodthirsty people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know the headbands, right? Sorry, Didi, you were saying something?
Oh, I didn't say anything.
You know the headbands that like you see natives wear in movies and everything?
Yeah.
So you know where that's from? It's
movies.
No, well, yes and no, but like, what used to happen is they'd have a lot of white people on makeup wear it, but they put wigs on, and when they're riding on horses or whatever, the wigs fucking rattling around like they're a bald dude with a fucking pompadour, you know. So they had to have something to hold the wig down. So they put a bandana around their head, and so people loved it. specifically hippies,
Mm,
who wanted to do that free love, like native, like way of life. So they wore it a bunch. So then it became associated with natives, and so they put it in movies more. It's fucked, you know. Like you won't go around in history or in reality and ever see them wear that shit. Unironically, at least. You know.
so they were doing red face,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, there isn't. You never seen that super racist. I can't remember who it was. Got a Hollywood nomination, and it was just a white guy with a bunch of cotton balls in his mouth and his face squeezed up, trying to be a Chinese man. A lot of old movies do that. Just white people pretending to be other races. But you know,
That's because they didn't want to hire other races.
yeah. But they wanted to put them in movies, which is so fucking
To make fun of them.
But also, it could have been like directors being like, "Yo, I'd like to have a native in my movie," and then Hollywood's like, "No," and what are they gonna do? You know, they can't be like,
Yeah.
"Fuck you, Hollywood." Oh yeah, can you give me that fucking huge grant that I need to make this movie, please? Even though I just told you to go fuck yourself, and I'm doing the exact thing that you don't want me to do, which is to put a person of color in my movie.
Yeah.
You know, that shit's fucking crazy. I don't get it.
Honestly, the whole fucking production company shit is just so fucking toxic, especially in like Hollywood, where like everyone's restricted, like everyone's got fucking guidelines and shit, like I was saying before. Like, it's just like so locked off on what you can do and what you can't. Like, otherwise your job's fucked.
It never surprises me that Hollywood's a piece of shit. Because it's just... LA isn't great. Like, it's the highest homeless population in all of the United States. It's fucking terrible. It's like the whole blocks of homeless. You know, it's insane. Because people think that they're going to make it big. They spend all their fucking money. They get there. And they get fucked. And they don't make it big. They don't even make it small time. And they end up becoming homeless. So you have this massive amount of homeless population there. It's like what's considered the typical America. Or in terms of high class society America.
Wow.
Yeah, because when I've been to LA a couple times, and I've seen a lot of homeless people when I'm walking on the little walkway with all the Hollywood stars on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot
Hollywood
of homeless
Boulevard,
people there. Oh, yeah, Hollywood Boulevard.
There's a lot of homeless people there.
Yeah.
That's ironic. Homeless people in a rich man's area like that is, I don't know, something about that's funny. The irony of it. So fucking stupid that's even the case. There should be enough space for those people. So
Yeah,
many
I mean, that's what they say. That's what the fucking America always says. You know, there should be enough space. We're gonna make it, but yet, fucking 50 years down the line, there's still so many fucking homeless people there. It's just like unbearable.
Yeah, because I go to downtown Dallas a lot, and I've only seen like 2 homeless shelters, but there's still a lot of homeless people walking around the streets. And it's like, wow. Disappointing.
We don't see a lot of homeless people here in where I live, which is in Canada. And typically that's kind of normal. I think, and I heard this as a joke, but it makes sense to me that a lot of homeless people die in the winter. You know, it makes sense. These people don't have enough money to dress properly, and you put them in the freezing cold. It makes sense that they're gonna fucking die. It doesn't matter if you set up a shelter 2 blocks in front of them. A lot of people, and not just homeless people, don't want to accept handouts when they're in a really low position, and so they'd rather fucking die.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I feel like that's what a lot of people don't understand about like homeless people, is that
Honestly, if I was fucking on the street, I wouldn't want to take anything from the people who'd fucked me over.
but it's the people that fucked you over. It's why would you take handouts from somebody like at all? Like you taking handouts from someone is you acknowledging that you are fucked, that you are in the dirt, that you are in the thick.
Yeah,
of it.
that you can't help
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
So you have other people help you.
Yeah. That's why a lot of people don't get help with abuse and with drug problems and all kinds of stuff. It's because it's admitting that you have a problem, which is the problem itself for people, at least for coming out, you know. But that's crazy.
Yeah.
Hopefully I think that as a society, we're changing and adapting a better understanding and opinion on it, I think. I mean, take John. You guys see what happened with Johnny Depp recently?
Oh yeah, Jesus.
What's the other bitch's name?
Amber Heard.
Amber Heard. Did you see that, Didi?
No.
So you remember when Amber Heard said that Johnny Depp was abusing her? You remember when that whole fiasco happened and he got canceled by Disney for Pirates of the Caribbean? So recently, I think about like a week, right, Jay? A week ago?
Yeah, it was only like a week ago.
He publicly let out audio recordings where she admitted to hitting him and attacking him, and saying that he was a bitch, a pussy and a pansy, and all these other
for
things.
for like avoiding like physical conflict. Apparently, he was like this absolute bitch who wouldn't fight for the relationship. When in reality, he just didn't want to get like fucking hit. I mean, did you see some of the Have you seen some of the photos of him where he's like his finger got fucking cut off?
Yeah, she cut off his
Jesus.
I think it was his right index finger, a portion of his
Yeah,
right
I
index
think
finger.
so.
I had a lot of people thought that he did that himself because he has a known history of drug problems. So a lot of people just automatically assume that he was being messed up.
Speaking of which, in the recording, she does give him a Xanax because he's all like non-complacent, which I thought was fucking sus.
Yeah, that whole thing is fucked up. But yeah, Didi, she admitted to abusing him, and she didn't. I don't think she admitted to lying about him like decking her, but she definitely admitted to abusing him beforehand.
No, I'm pretty sure she did admit to like not saying anything about it, because Johnny Depp was all like, "You didn't fucking tell whatever his face it was when I told you," and you were all like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about," and she was like, I did."
She got pissed that he went to his bodyguard when she
Yeah.
started beating the shit out of him, and he wasn't doing anything. He didn't want to hit back, so he went to his bodyguard and told his bodyguard to help him out and get her the fuck away from him. And of course the bodyguard did that and probably fucking kapella'd her in the mouth.
We hope. We don't condone, hitting people for no reason.
Well, abuse. If someone's abusing you, fucking deck him in the mouth, maybe. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Because if you don't deck him in the mouth, then you have a better side in a court case. But look what fucking happened. They were in a court. They were in a lawsuit, or I think it was divorce or something between the two of them. And she released all the information publicly against the law. And then he got canceled and missed a bunch of job opportunities. And now he had that information at the time, and he didn't release it because he didn't want to get fucked in the law. Like, he wanted the thing to keep moving forward. I think that she was trying to bait him into releasing his shit so that she could say something right away that it was bullshit, or like automatically dismiss the whole case itself. Because if both parties abuse the law, I think that it automatically acquits the case. I'm not 100% sure about that because I'm not a lawyer, but I think that's the case.
And that's the case. Lawyer man here. This is the case.
Okay, speaking of like high society, like people smarter than me, let's talk about the coronavirus for a real quick second.
Did you hear that fucking the doctor who discovered it died? That was fucked.
Oh yeah, that guy that
Mm.
was telling people to be like that it was a thing.
Yeah, it was like, hey guys, maybe don't fucking, like go touching up people who got it.
Yeah, that guy. That sucks. I mean, what sucks more about that is that his death was like hidden for a while by China.
Yeah.
Supposedly. I don't know the whole story about that. In my opinion, what seems like what happened was that facts were being sent out improperly because he supposedly was legally dead for a while and then resuscitated. So who knows if China just heard, oh, he's dead, and then end of communications and reported that.
Yeah.
Because in reality, it was
I mean,
alive. Or
just for a second, fuck China, man. What the fuck's China doing? Like, bruh. It's
Well,
not
they're-
cool.
they're a communist republic or something, aren't they?
Honestly, I don't know what they are, but I don't agree with it.
We only mess with China when it's trade. Other than that, we want nothing to do with them.
Honestly, why would you? Fucking mentalists. Not the people, the government, just to be clear.
Yeah.
The people, I feel really fucking bad for them, because they've got to put up with that shit every day.
Yeah. They still haven't banned ivory trade, have they? Right? Is it ivory that's the biggest concern I heard about recently? I think I heard recently that they haven't banned ivory trade, like ivory from like elephant tusks and stuff.
I honestly don't know.
I don't know either.
But yeah, to go back to the coronavirus, the thing I wanted to talk about that I thought that has to relate with smart people or people smarter than me was the WHO people. You know who I'm talking about? The WHO people?
The who people?
Yeah, the WHO
like,
people.
Like Horton Hears a Who?
No, you fucking retard.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Who am I talking about, DD?
The World Health Organization.
Exactly. So
You don't... The fucking Who people,
they're
bruh.
WHO. They literally,
It's an
if you look
acronym.
at fucking interviews with them, if you look at
No one calls them
articles,
Who.
I will fucking put a thing on screen showing the article that I'm about to refer to. Or articles.
If you say Who, you're a fucking owl.
Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Alright? But it is...
But who wants to say
Anagram.
World Health Organization?
Me, I don't want to say World Health Organization.
You can't even
It's
say normal
sophisticated.
fucking words properly. Why the fuck would you say it that way?
It says you.
Hey, dude, I'm better than you in all ways but one. Alright?
You speak French. Be
Yeah,
quiet.
that's the problem with me. That's where I'm flawed. I'm tainted. Anyways, so they said about like 2 weeks ago that like the coronavirus wasn't a concern globally, just to employ like proper cough and sneeze etiquette,
Like
which
wash your
is to
hands
sneeze
and shit, yeah.
into your arm. You know, if you're an asshole, you'll sneeze into the open air like an absolute prick.
Or into a toddler's face, either or.
No, that doesn't make you an asshole. To sneeze into a fucking toddler's open mouth just so it fucking catches smallpox, Nothing wrong with that. You gotta get your kids...
I don't like when people sneeze in their hands.
Yeah, that's also fucking gross. But people do a lot of things with their hands, so hands are just naturally fucking disgusting. Anyways, so WHO said like a couple weeks ago that it wasn't a concern. Just employ proper cough and sneeze etiquette, which is to use your shoulder or to use your armpit, or not your armpit, your the fuck do you call it? Your elbow, near your elbow, and less than like
your forearm.
your forearm. There you go. And less than a week later, they're like, "Oh, it actually is a problem. Everyone should be concerned." And when they first said it, I put it into SPA, which for people that don't know, it's we have a video on it done by Jay actually, and I talked about it before. But our SPA text channel is for science, politics, and history. It's just like a discussion area, and I put one in there, an article specifically talking about that thing in particular, like them saying that it wasn't a problem, and I said it was bullshit, and I even acknowledged at that point that I am not a fucking doctor, but their information and my information was coming from the same source, which was China, and they were 100% lying, because in less than 24 hours, the infection rate or the amount of infected jumped by over 200%. That's just not possible. Like, it's just not. There's no disease that has ever existed that has spread in more than 200% in less than 24 hours. It's not that bad. Like, Corona isn't that crazy, and it's not that spreadable, so it just doesn't make sense. It had to have been a lie. But
Yeah.
I called it, and I said that this is bullshit. They have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. Yes, I'm not a fucking scientist, but their sources are the same. I called it that they were going to retrace their steps and say something completely different in less than a week. And of course they fucking did. They told people that it was a concern to start wearing masks, to avoid contact with known infected or people in relation to people who are infected, for people that are infected to remain in their homes and tell people, or to contact police. Or I can't remember, it was like a biohazard department or something in China. I don't know.
Quarantine shit. Yeah.
Have you seen the quarantines though in China? Have you seen that?
I've seen the quarantines in fucking England. The 2 out of the 3 current coronavirus patients in England are currently about 20 miles away from me in the Royal Victoria Infirmary in Newcastle. The fucking fun fact, that's the hospital where my nephew used to be when he had neuroblastoma, his cancer, which was pretty shit. Doing good now, though, by the way. But that shit's fucking scary. That quarantine unit is scary, man. It's like because when those people, like, when the first images leaked, that's when they were all saying like, oh, it's fine. It's not like you'll be all right. You can walk past someone in the street with it and you won't catch it. You'll be all right. It's not a like serious issue. And then the fucking week later, they're putting up this like big white room, like fucking clean room. Don't go in there. If you go in there, you'll die. It's just like, oh,
yeah, this shit's insane.
It's so fucked. It's so fucked. At least we've got a bit better of a grip on it over here in the West.
You mean in the East? You're in the East, I'm in the West.
I'm not in the fucking East, I'm in like the middle. It's just technically the West.
Unless you're fucking living in the Atlantic, you're not in the middle. You're the East or the West.
I literally live on the north line of that one, yeah.
The north line of
the north line of latitude, meaning my country is literally the center of the map. Like, not like center as in like vertical, but horizontal.
Okay. Still east though.
It's not east, though, is it? If it's in the middle, it's
Europe
not east.
And Asia is the east. North America
It's not.
And Mexico
It's not.
is fucking the west.
No, because we have Western science magic. Ooh.
Western science is just fucking science.
Yeah, and that's our science. Fight me. We are Westerners.
You're fucking stupid.
The UK has officially became a boat and started drifting away from Europe.
Anyways, the fucking quarantines that I was talking about was not the medical quarantines. I was talking about the ones in China. Like in towns.
The ones where they fucking built the fucking like huge area full of that's mad.
I'm gonna put some pictures on screen for people to see what we're talking about. But Didi, have you seen that shit? Like the fucking like villages making these weird brick walls.
Mm-hmm.
That shit's fucking insane.
I've seen it.
Have you seen the picture of the kid with the fucking sniper rifle sitting outside?
What?
From my understanding, it was a kid holding his dad's gun, who was like on patrol, like outside this village, like at their wall, making sure people didn't come in.
I was gonna say, is that to make sure people didn't come in or people didn't get out?
I think it was a bit of both. Well, they've now employed drones in China, supposedly with speakers, to start talking to people, like telling them, why the fuck are you outside? Like, put a fucking mask on. Get the fuck back inside. And they've released videos of it too to make it like propaganda, but it's so fucked because it's like they'll scream at a fucking kid for being outside without a mask, and he'll go running fucking home and screaming and crying
because the robot uprising is like fucking yelling at him.
A fucking drone is yelling at him to fucking stop going outside. He just wants to play and to put on his fucking mask. You know, I get scared shitless, and I'm a grown up. If a fucking flying little drone, a metallic bird came towards me and told me, "What the fuck are you doing outside? Put on your goddamn mask," I would shit myself on sight, right there. I would fucking go screaming and crying to my home. That shit's fucking. What the fuck? I get that you have to tell people to be like, hey, be safe. The infection's pretty bad. To keep contaminants within your home, like don't spread it around. Like wear masks and everything. But there's gotta be a different way than flying around a bunch of these fucking drones that got speakerphones and screaming at people to fucking go back inside. I'm sure those people feel absolutely dehumanized to no end. And they lived in China already, so, you know, they're pretty much not human.
Jesus.
Because fucking, they have grueling work hours, and they're filled to the block with people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember seeing a 50-lane highway in China, which was full of people, and it just gave me anxiety just looking at it.
Have you ever seen those ones in Vietnam?
No, I have not.
They're the same thing. They're 15 or 20 lane highway, and there's nobody for like miles. There'll be like one truck.
Yeah, I saw that on fucking Top Gear ages ago, back when we used to have the whole Jeremy Clarkson, James May, and the little one.
What happened was the Vietnam experienced this economic boom or something at some point, or what they thought was the beginnings of an economic boom. So they prepared a bunch of like housing and like road work, and so it just ended up the boom wasn't as great as they thought it would be. So there's just a bunch of homes where there's like 2 people sleeping in it, and massive roads that like there's only one truck going down it. It's a lot of money to maintain it, so I'm assuming that's not great.
I mean, you don't have to maintain it much if no fucker uses it.
Well, you would, right? In the United States, in the West, and where you are, if you consider the West as well, you would maintain the roads no matter if there's 1 or 2 people going down it. If it's a road that's traveled, it should be law that you're taking care of it as a government. Like, you're being taxed and shit like that, you know? And there's money that you're supposed to be using to repair that. And I'm sure that those people, like when there's shows, like we were saying, Top Gear, that's going there and filming, that shit's gotta look fucking sparkling, you know?
But
you gotta look like you can eat your fucking dinner off that road.
I fucking bet there's one portion of that road that looks absolutely spectacular, and all the rest of it is like only 1 or 2 lanes that fucking looks like actually usable. Like,
for sure.
I guarantee you that like not all of that road is working,
well,
like at all.
Vietnam is. I don't think Vietnam's a third world country. I think it's like second. They're not first. I know that because they have a lot of poverty there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure it's not great. But speaking of like empty like shit like that, you guys ever seen the videos of the ghost towns or the ghost city in like China?
Is that the one where they had that fucking like chemical, like the demonstration shit?
Chemical demonstration.
Like when China was doing the whole communism experiments with chemicals.
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. I'm talking about the ghost city. They built bunch of these massive buildings with the expectation of mass amounts of people being able to afford the housing and going in there and buying homes there. And no one bought homes. Everything was finished. Everything was put in concrete, at least. Nobody bought any of the housing there. there just wasn't enough money to go around, not enough families to go around to warrant buying housing there. So these massive cities, they're just empty concrete buildings. If there's ever a place in China I would go, it would be there.
That sounds like that one bit from the new Blade Runner where they go to fucking like Vegas or whatever, and it's just like massive empty buildings.
Well, that's basically what it is, really. But it's not like abandoned. Like there's still like workers that are there technically, but a lot of people believe that the workers that are there are just to make it look like for the population and for the government that there is still work being done, so they don't have to pay an absorbent amount of money or tear it all down. You know, they can just say that it's still being worked on and they don't have to do anything. So, yeah.
Jesus.
Speaking about construction, so you know how like asbestos was used for a long time?
Asbestos.
Especially in America, it was used like crazy. Yeah, on my campus, we have an abandoned building that's been sitting there since before my mom was fucking born. It's been sitting there forever. And that place is riddled not only with a black mold for being abandoned and no one giving a shit about it, but it's riddled with asbestos as well. So it's a fucking rat trap of a building if you ever want to explore it.
If you ever want to go to crack somewhere, kids, that's the place.
There's been a lot of people that I know specifically, like personally, who have gone there and taken pictures in there. It looks crazy cool. But I'm always like, they'll like do a picture without a mask. I'm like, you just fucking shaved off 20 years of your life. Good fucking job. You know, like black mold does not take long to get in your lungs and fuck up your system. It's real bad. But anyways, to go back to what I was saying about asbestos, is you know how asbestos stopped being made and stopped being put in homes, right?
Uh-huh.
So what do you think happened with the asbestos that those companies still had when that law was put in, where they couldn't put it in homes? Like there was still asbestos in those companies, in those factories. Where do you think that fucking asbestos went?
Sold it to China?
Nope.
I think they probably like destroyed it or something.
Nope. Those
Because of the health risk.
Yeah. Well, you would hope so. Those companies owned construction companies, right? Like it wasn't just they owned asbestos making. Like they owned construction companies that made homes, or usually massive public buildings like schooling, or government official buildings, or even just parts of a school, maybe not a whole school. Like a lot of those asbestos companies made or had construction with studio rooms a lot of the time, because asbestos was really good for soundproofing, and it was good for a lot of things really, but it kills you.
Apart from living.
Apart from living. But what those companies did is they just put it in the concrete. So there are thousands of homes where people who are selling these homes do not have to write that there is asbestos in the walls, because it is not normal asbestos, it's in the concrete itself. If that concrete cracks or breaks, it's the exact same thing as the problems of just the raw asbestos fucking shit you'd have in the wall. It's still flammable, and when it breaks, it still releases shit that if you inhale it, you're fucked.
Well.
Yeah. But if you said
this
you
just
said
in,
before,
folks,
Jay, that you thought it was China, like you thought they sold it to China. You want to know what China does to cheap out on concrete? They put cardboard in their fucking concrete.
Genius.
Yeah. You just put a bunch of cardboard shavings in it. Don't have to worry about it.
Honestly, it reminds me of that game Frostpunk, where you'd put like wood shavings in your food to make your like citizens like have fuller bellies.
Yeah.
You'd fucking like just throw anything just to save a bit of money. It's fucked.
But you can eat wood though.
I mean, yeah, it's not advised, but if you want
No,
to,
it
go
says
ahead.
if you could make survival jerky with it, like you can cook strips of bark and
I
eat
don't
it.
think I'd call that jerky.
No, you're supposed to cook it with like
I think-
fat, like bear fat, like a heavy fat. That then you coat it and then you dry it. So then it's basically just a fatty stick that you're just chewing on. But it's just like you're eating hardened sugar almost to a certain degree. Natural sugar. But that's what it is. I mean, it's like, I don't know. You got fucking, you can eat it. It's fine. It won't kill you.
I mean, that's like saying, I'm gonna eat this plant. Natural sugar, boys. I'm just gonna devour this leaf real quick.
Yeah, you can make
I've actually
tea.
eaten grass.
Of course, yeah.
One time, actually, yeah, I've eaten grass too.
You guys are fucking insane. Why are you eating fucking grass? There's like so much.
Because I was a kid and I thought
Yeah,
I didn't know any better.
we thought
Like
it
when I
was
tasted
cool,
it, it
okay?
didn't taste like anything.
You guys are fucking just eating grass and shit. If
Yeah, I
anybody's
just picked up
watching
a
this,
blade of grass and just put it in my mouth.
I'm gonna put a poll in the video of you eating grass or not.
Have you eaten just some fucking grass?
If you have
you
eaten
ever
grass,
took a
if you
handful?
answer yes to that fucking poll, leave in the comments. Why the fuck are you eating grass? Just
Because
what
it's
the fuck?
delicious.
No, it's
Get that
not.
natural
You're
sugar.
not a cow. You don't have two stomachs.
Nutrient.
Fucking stop
You don't
eating
know.
grass.
I might be a fucking cow. Moo, bitch.
Why are you eating grass?
'Cause
Because we're
There's a lot of it.
omnivores. And we eat that shit.
I love just eating some rocks and grass to crunch it up, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like a fucking pigeon just swallowing fucking marbles so you can digest shit. That's great. Alright. What's some other things we can talk about? I don't think I had anything specific. Oh, I want to talk about graffiti real quick. I want to know what you guys think about graffiti.
Graffiti.
Yeah, like
Wow.
what are your opinions on
Well,
graffiti?
I think I've seen a lot of graffiti art. Some of it's really good and some of it is not so pleasant. But overall, I think that it should be I don't want to say legal because people are going to start spray painting people's houses without any repercussions. I don't really know how to feel about graffiti art in general. And it's just kind of there, you know.
I feel like it should be something that's like licensed. So like, if you're like an actual artist who makes art and doesn't just draw dicks on shit, like you should be able to get a license to be able to like draw on public walls or something.
No fucking wonder the European says it needs to have a fucking license.
You got a license for that spray can, mate. You got a license for it.
TV, so I don't fucking know.
Well, you don't need a license to operate a TV, it's to own one.
It's so fucking stupid. You're gonna
It's
need
not-
a license
right,
to operate
okay.
porn soon too, to operate your fucking right hand.
Here's the thing with the TV license. A lot of people don't understand. It's not actually a license, it's just called a TV license. The BBC, the British Broadcasting blah 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 company, whatever. The British
There's one
the TV
more
license.
word in BBC. You just couldn't say company. You just
British
said
Broadcasting blah, blah, blah,
Broadcasting
company.
Blah blah blah. It's one more fucking word.
Fuck off! I'm busy. Right. Anyway, so the TV license is not actually a license. The BBC is paid for. Well, it's monitored by the Royal Charter because the Royal Charter is like, hey, are you making good things that everyone will like? Yeah, you get to charge everyone the TV license because it's publicly funded, and so everyone pays for it. So basically, the TV license, that funds the BBC, and it's great. It's amazing. I love the BBC. It's so good. It's the best idea ever. Fucking little commercial stations like ITV, bump, shit, get out of here. Don't like you. You're not as cool as the BBC.
This man's been brainwashed.
Also, did you know if you're blind, you don't have to pay as much on the TV license because you can't fucking see the TV?
Why the fuck would you
That,
buy a
make,
TV
that makes.
license? Just buy a radio.
Why would you buy a TV in general if you're blind?
Yeah.
Don't know, you might want to listen to the TV. They don't exactly play fucking Doctor Who on the radio, do they?
Buy a fucking iPad. Why do you need a fucking TV now?
A fucking TV's cheaper than an iPad.
What fucking TV? If you go to 1912, maybe. I don't fucking know, Ken.
Fucking 1912, a TV would be a lot more expensive than an iPad.
All I was gonna say that I saw this video a little bit ago of a train that was covered, like wrapped with graffiti, and it wasn't slap tags. I don't know if you know what slap tags are. I think I've explained it to you, DD, before. I don't know what slap tags.
I don't
are.
remember.
Do you know what slap tags are, Jay?
I've played Tony Hawk's. That's when you put your tag somewhere. Yeah. I have no fucking
Slap
clue.
tags are super rudimentary graffiti. Usually it will be either a name or a word. So someone could... There's a person near me that just says poop, and it's in a black graffiti, and it's just one line, and it's all it is poop. It's just normal, alphabetically written poop, and that's a slap tag. One of the people that gets slap tagged a lot is Banksy, because Banksy is like this notorious graffiti artist, and he gets put in like mainstream news and stuff, or he'll end up in like a museum or something. Like they'll tear down walls and put them in museums and shit. It's crazy. But they'll put like their names in corners or on pieces so they can get into museums too. It's just this really rudimentary spray. But this wasn't that. This wasn't that. This was like mural type of graffiti art all the way around. And this tweet, the person was saying that they thought, I thought we got rid of this in the 80s. Why the fuck is this back in New York? This is disgusting. This is horrible. I am of the opinion that I would 1,000 times prefer that over like the depressing like grayscale or steel on the train, or like a bunch of like faceless, like, because you know that you're either gonna see steel or you're gonna see a bunch of fucking ads of some faceless corporation. Like you're just gonna see like Starbucks or some garbage all around. I would much prefer the graffiti. I think I talked to you about this already. This story, DD. I think you said that like. Did it cover? You asked if it covered the windows, and it did. So maybe I would agree that that's kind of fucked to cover the windows. But I think you can get rid of that.
I mean, let's be honest. Who needs to see when driving a train, right, guys?
Yeah.
Pff, idiots.
Most of the time you're in fucking tunnels. Like it wasn't the windows. The doors were fine. The doors weren't sprayed in the video. So you could see through the windows and the doors. So you could see through the most important parts. But it's little like porthole kind of windows that you have all the way along, you know?
Yeah.
Just for people to look at when they're sitting in their seat because they're fucking bored or their phone's dead or some shit.
Useless.
Alright, we're at a...
By the way,
yeah?
hold on. In America, do your trains have like windows that open like your metros?
Not here. Not in Canada, no.
The trains that I have here, I don't think the windows open because for obvious reasons.
Man, you'll really be living in some third world countries if you can't open a window.
I've been to Europe. I traveled all the way all along Europe. I went on a trip in high school. I was following like the path of like World War I soldiers on their journey to the Battle of Vimy Ridge, specifically Canadian soldiers were following. I have to say that the train between England and France is pretty nice. I stopped it once with a bomb threat. I was declared a bomb.
What?
Okay, so we went to Omaha.
You fucking... Jesus.
We went to Omaha Beach. You know where Omaha...
You went to Omaha Beach.
You know,
yeah,
like
I've heard
DA
of Omaha Beach.
We went to Omaha. And on Omaha, I ran out and I was just like kind of running around because it was just a flat open beach and it was so cool to run along and to think about like people like being on there and fighting, you know, like that's just kind of crazy to think about. That part wasn't fun, but it was just Just the thing about that was crazy. And out there, I found like a piece of metal. For sure, it was like a piece of aluminum. I don't know why I ever doubted it, but it had like a bunch of like gems in it, like encrusted like gemstones and stuff like that, like amethyst kind of stuff.
Fuck.
Like gems that form naturally that are pretty shit, like quartz and fucking amethyst or something like that. At least that's what it looked like to me. So I wanted to put it in my bag and bring it home. I thought that as long as I explained it, I could like go on planes and trains and shit. So I go on this train from France to England, which is this train that is like super important to businesses and people.
Oh
both
yeah,
sides,
the Channel Tunnel is like really fucking it's gorgeous. It's just like if you ever need to go on like any train, if you need to go on any train, like the last train that you could ever go on the fucking Channel Tunnel train. It's so it's sexy, man.
Underwater, DD.
Mm-hmm.
It's
cool.
It's like a submarine, but on tracks.
And it goes through a bunch of like cow pasture kind of areas too, like a bunch of fields and shit. It's nice.
That's most of Europe, really. Just a bunch of fucking fields.
I went and declared it because I took out my bags. My tourist guide was like, "Yeah, you should tell them that you have this thing," and they're like, "Okay, let us scan that." They come back to me, handing it to me in gloves and wearing masks, and they said that it was irradiated, and I need to put it back in my bag and follow them. And I thought, fuck me, I'm gonna be growing a third arm on my back soon because I've been carrying this thing with me for like 3-4 days now, and it's irradiated to the point where it's a concern, and these people are handing it back to me in gloves with masks on. So I go around and I don't know if you know this, but in train stations, there are these hidden little alleyways in the walls, like where like people, like cops and shit will travel in the walls to get from one area to another really fast. And we went down this thing, and they told me to chuck my bag and my luggage in this like corner of this little like. I'm not I'm a wide person to some degree, you know, like I got broad shoulders, and I was having trouble going through there because it was just so fucking tight. And I chucked my luggage back there, and they're like, "All right, come back out." And then Bomb Squad, like fucking Rainbow Six Siege like characters, imagine that shit with all this fucking armor on. They come in. They fucking close the door behind them, and they rip open my fucking suitcase, and they come back out, taking off their gloves, and they say, it's not a bomb. It's not even irradiated. It's fine. And then they looked at me, and they said, "Do you want to keep it?" And I was like, fuck off. I just want to get on the train.
What? Why would you keep it?
I want to get back on the fucking train that I just stopped. That I want to fucking go back home. I want to go this other country that I've been waiting for. Join the rest of my fucking class.
Then you don't want to keep the thing that almost fucking like got you arrested?
No, fuck off. I have pictures on my phone, I think. Fuck, dude. If I still have pictures, I'll put it on the screen to show people what it was. It was fucking stupid. So stupid that happened. They scared the shit out of me, and it wasn't even irradiated. It wasn't even poisonous. It was nothing. If I took that thing and tried to fucking hit someone over the head with it, it would have bended back and fucking stabbed me in the chest. It was so fucking bendy and just covered in like barnacles and shit. Those pussies were worrying about nothing. It annoys the piss out of me.
You've got to be safe, man. You don't know. Could have just been a little bit of bomb, you know? Just a little bit of bomb.
That's what they thought it was. They thought it was part of a bomb.
Honestly, right, there's so many fucking bombs all over Europe. It's ridiculous how many unexploded bombs are like around the place.
Two major world wars that just fucking like ran through you, you know?
Yeah, loser. What do you got? Nothing. Shut up, Canada.
What do you mean? What the fuck do you mean? We have plenty of wars that were through here.
Shut up, Canada.
And it's in compact, tight areas. Dude, there is a fucking tree. In an hour, I could fucking go over to that tree and take a picture. And it's a fucking cannonball inside of a tree that happened during the Plains d'Abraham, where someone just shot a fucking cannonball and a tree grew around it and fucking absorbed it. Everybody knows where that fucking cannonball is. There's all kinds of shit like that. There's a bunch of trees that just spit out fucking bullets every couple of years. They just
That's kind of fucking cool.
Yeah. But you don't fucking have that. You should have stupid fucking tanks and rivers killing your fish. So shut the fuck up. How am I dying?
Actually, we only have bombs underneath our cities.
Yeah, that's what you fucking get. Stupid
That need to be
Europeans.
expertly.
Europeans. You're just fucking dumb.
Excuse me, I do not associate with those people anymore. Hashtag Brexit.
Alright, we're going to have to end it here. If you enjoyed the podcast, make sure to leave a like. Let me know what you think. Make sure to tell me what you thought about the ideas of the names. You can go back to the beginning to vote on the poll, or click the little exclamation mark symbol at the top right of the screen. So I hope you enjoyed this. Once again, my name is Jacko. I was joined today by Jay. Want to say hello? There you go. And Didi.
Hey.
If you guys have any questions or discussion ideas that you want us to bring up in the next podcast, or if you want to join, or you have someone you'd like to see in the podcast, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit subscribe.